I'm well. How are you?
Good. How did week 2 go in
Week
your
two is okay. We
remote
had
learning?
a little bit less traffic, but a little bit more quality in terms of the work.
Tell me more about that.
I think a lot of kids after week one were kind of like, this is, not necessarily for me. And I don't know, there was just less traffic. I put a quiz up on the first day, just the one question Google form. And I have 170 students on my roster and 60 of them took it.
Oh,
So less traffic, but those 60 kids did really good work this week.
how you reach out to the other 60 kids?
Trying with Schoology messages and just updates to my Google form.
Okay.
And yesterday last week there was a mad dash. Everything's due Monday at 2:00, and there was a mad dash to finish it all Monday morning. So I'm sure tomorrow I will get kind of inundated with like the low quality stuff that defined the week before. But
So you're saying that to take this quiz, kids have till 2:00 on Monday.
to do whatever their weekly assignment was, they have from 2:00 Monday to 2:00 Monday.
Okay, so you'll still get them. It was just on the first day you had some high quality work, and hopefully you'll get some more from your other students, right? It just maybe they didn't have access to their computer, or they were sharing it with their brother, or whatever. But
that's the main thing we've seen with parents working and older siblings. Most of my office hours has been like only kids, which has been really interesting.
What would you expect?
Like only kids with no siblings. So kids with siblings are not having the time onto office hours. So it's just only children are the ones joining office hours. It's very strange.
Oh, that's pretty typical. Something we all have to think about, right? Before we launch into the planning, think about a student that you really want to, a student who do you really want to reach out to this week? Maybe you're a little bit worried about how they did or how they're feeling about remote learning. Can you think of a student or two you might reach out to?
I do have two in mind, yes.
Okay. What do you want to reach out to them about? What are you thinking about?
One of them, she reached out to me last week just about her family and like how things are going for them right now. Has not completed any work for any class, but has sent one email so far. So I was going to see if she was like, I'm going to get my work done. So I'm going to communicate with the other teachers, see if that is the case. And then I was definitely going to email her probably around the Monday at 2:00 deadline, probably a little bit after, like, hey, we haven't talked. I think we emailed Friday, so we'll see what happens on Monday. See how the weekend went for her.
Okay, great, good. And you're talking to other teachers about her as well?
Yeah, we're just going to communicate quickly of, hey, did this student turn in her assignments? She said she was going to try. I told her to put mine on the back burner based on kind of the story she was telling. She had actually lost a grandfather to COVID, which was just awful. So they've had a tough couple weeks.
So you can check in with her. Thank you for that. Tell me another story about another kid that you're going to check in with this week. And on the 16th, it's actually called the Tend, right? But who's another kid you're going to check in with this week?
Another student I'm going to check in with this week. I was actually in contact with his case manager, and he's just kind of feeling very overwhelmed just by not only being like self-reliant, but in how much he has to process through at once. I think that he doesn't see it as much as, hey, this is 5 days worth of learning. Like, break it up. He sees it as, hey, here's this wave of learning, and he gets overwhelmed by it.
Okay. And then how are you and his case manager going to solve that? What did you guys decide to do?
We're actually gonna have a video meeting on Monday morning. And we're gonna try to like get him on a schedule. She's gonna meet his case manager, and him are gonna meet with each of his teachers and say, hey, Monday try this, Tuesday try this. It's one of the accommodations he gets in class.
Okay.
It's really, we think we do it well online. Like, we think that hey, this is step 1, this is step 2, but he's seeing it all as one step. And I think that we didn't see that as much, like typing step 1, step 2. It feels like you're meeting the accommodation for that kid, but it hasn't really worked for him. So we're going to try to put it in language that works for him.
Great. Well, thanks, Tim. I appreciate you working so hard for your kids. Wow. I'm just sick about your student whose grandfather passed because of the virus.
Yeah, it's she's the 4th of that family I taught, so it's crazy. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thanks for being there for them.
Right.
Okay. Last week we were together and we were looking at those 6 T's. If you want to put those back up on the screen.
Six T's.
And when we looked at the 6Ts, we last week talked about topic, and your students are going to do some engineering. I just wanted to get a little bit deeper into that. And when we left off, you were talking about making a model. I wanted to talk just a little bit about the standards you're going to go for in this, just to kind of refresh. And then I want you to pick another T that we should go into.
Okay.
So how's it going? So the topic is for them to create and do design thinking. How did it go to create the model? Or what?
It was good. It was good. I reached out to my planning partner, who does this class and math. So she's kind of been a little disconnected from the extended core class. And we each made some cars. She mailed me some videos of her car kind of running on. Hers is powered by magnets, which is pretty cool. And yeah, mine is I'm trying to make this water powered one. So it's been a really fun build. And I've thought of a lot of ways to kind of connect it to what's happening in their worlds right now. Like, hey, let's say you need to get supplies to your neighbor. You need to get something 15 meters without electricity, and then you need to be able to get something back to you. So like, it can't be like a one-time use thing. You have to be able to reset the system that whatever makes it move.
If you go to the standards page, so this may not all apply, but let's just at least try one. I pulled up the science and engineer standards for 7th grade.
Okay.
I also pulled up the writing. I forgot the graphing one. But let's go into that science and engineer standards from the Carl Academic Standards.
Right.
Now, what we talked about last time is that you're going to kick off, it's a week from Monday, showing them these models, right? And then you're going to say, hey, what do you guys need to learn based on these models? But as the expert in the content, what are some of the standards that you're going to go for as you look at that document there? What are some of those standards you're going to go for?
As I look at the language in this document?
Yeah, just the top of the science ones for 7th grade.
We could definitely do this Newton's third law one about motion. And then absolutely this idea of like plan an investigation to provide evidence that changes in objects in motion depends on the sum of forces. So I think a lot of what we're going to have to talk about is what propels these different vehicles to do their different jobs.
Right.
And I think I'm going to let it be a little more open that if they want to make a glider or like a pendulum or something, but either way, they're going to talk about like the Newtonian forces that are in play there.
Okay, great. So you'll be able to use those standards. So you'll take what they say about what they have to learn, and then you'll go back and make learning targets based on these for them to make them.
Yeah.
So that was kind of summing up last week and talking a little about your kids. Let's go to those 6 T's. Let's talk about another one you might be interested in tackling a little bit today. We talked about target and topics. We talked about the task. We know the task pretty well from the last couple times. We've spent every time so far talking about tending. Who are the kids you're tending to?
Right.
So of technology, talk, and text, which one of those do you want to think about right now?
I think I'm trying to mash together talk and technology.
Okay.
How do we get students talking on technology so that other students can see them talking? And
what are you coming up with so far?
I think I'm going to do a flip grid. I might do multiple and have one of like test failures and one of kind of talking through their design. So that was kind of the thing where the unit got divided by doing the model. It's not just about testing, and then trying to explain through your test what you're doing.
Right.
There's really 2 skills there. There's one, okay, I built this bag of water with this tiny hole in it to propel motion. That is my intent. It's almost an intent video. And then one about, hey, here's me testing it 50 times and it working or not working.
Oh, that's great. So one flip grid's about test failures and the other one is about what your design intent is. Did I get that right?
Right. And basically kind of, with your model in your hand, showing different parts and, hey, I did this and this is one change I made. I was thinking of making it like change videos that, hey, based on these tests, I changed this.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly what my video prompt is going to be, but I'm trying to figure out a way for students to communicate even though it's not going to be live.
Yeah. And so you'll model that with your own, like you'll and your teaching partners, right? You'll show your own and you'll model this tool with them. How many kids do you think would use that one flip grid for the design? You have a lot of students. You have 170 students. So how many different ones would you make?
I think I'd make one and let them
Okay.
pick and choose and say you have to watch 5.
Okay.
And then I don't know if there's a way to randomize on there. I think I'd have to get better into the technology there, or a way to, hey, pick the one with the least amount of views, because you can see how many views each one has. So maybe pick one with the least views and watch that one. So it's not about how many views you have, but making sure everyone gets watched or something. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to organize it, but I think to maximize my chance of communication, I'd keep it with all the kids.
I hear you, and I know Flipgrid. I've never used it as a classroom teacher, so I'm going to count on you. I know that when kids collaborate and talk, they can get lost in a big group.
Mm-hmm.
So what if they are testing with that same group of people over and over and over again? So there's a group of 5 or 4 or 3. Because what happens if you're giving feedback to me and then you never see my design again?
True.
Is that smaller group more collaborative? And so for 4 weeks, I'm always with this group of 4 people.
I mean, that's obviously where my brain would go in the classroom, and it didn't go there now, but I'm thinking of how I could pull that off with the technology. So if maybe, I mean, it's as weird as how can they pick their group when they're away from other people? Like maybe, I don't know. I don't know. That's a good idea to get smaller groups.
Mm-hmm. I just think you could get lost in anonymity. Like if no one really cares if my car's any better every time.
Yeah, if I'm just watching 2 to watch 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, how can I almost like have it be a group project from, different houses? I don't know.
Have you ever done that with Flipgrid before?
No, I've only done I've done whole class and then whole grade before. I've never done like small group.
Who could you ask in your building that might have done that before?
I know that our drama teacher is using Flipgrid for like her remote learning monologues, and she's having even kids do plays where they like read lines back and forth on a Flipgrid. So I'll talk to her. Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it or how she's doing it, but it's possible, I guess.
Yeah, maybe talk to her about that. That might be a cool way.
Yeah, so because I think that it's unrealistic at this point to expect if you're in a group of 4 that all 4 could get into a Google meeting like this. I think that's an unrealistic expectation. But if there's a way that videos can be posted and then edited and then watched later, I think that's why I was thinking Flipgrid.
Yeah, and I think you can still do that. I was just suggesting in a smaller group. I
think it's definitely better instruction in the small group. I was thinking of maximizing my chance for communication, but I think if I can engage kids in the fact that it's a cool challenge.
Okay, yeah. I just think small groups right now and having that small collaboration is super important in a time of remote learning because we're missing people, You can even do things just like you do in the classroom. You pick one partner and I'll put 2 partners together. It's a little bit of work ahead for you, for sure, to set that up. But knowing that it's going to last 6 weeks, then you just make one group, right? And you don't have to change it every week. So it's just like of any unit, the front loading is a little bit harder.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's front loading remote learning is even more. It's
right. All right, Tim. Well, so next week when we talk, you'll have, maybe you could show us what your model looks like and maybe some of the standards you're going to go for, just big standards, not lot of little things, just big ones. Yeah. Would you want to do that?
Yes.
One last question. I just want to ask, how are you taking care of yourself during this remote learning? Lots of teachers are working so hard. What are you doing for yourself?
My wife and I, by the fact that we have a tiny child at home, we have to do a good job taking turns.
Okay.
So we're sharing an office right now. Her stuff's over there. So it's kind of one of us is working and the other one's with our 7-month-old kind of recharging.
Okay, good.
So yeah, we're doing okay.
Well, thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you.
Okay, take care, Tim. Bye.